Key point 1. Are you a hunter or a collector? Humans have evolved over the ages, with hormones controlling our emotions and our behavior. Dopamine makes us happy when we complete tasks. Serotonin and oxytocin help us with relationships. And endorphins make us experience pain as physical pleasure when we exercise. Apart from these basic survival instincts, hormones have also created the basic template of social hierarchy. Endorphin rushes allowed hunters to travel far out to get meat for the community. At the same time, those who were physically incapable of going due to lack of sufficient strength stayed back and gathered instead. The hunters got special privileges and higher status. That's how the first leaders appeared. The class distinction and cohesion that came with it provided the weaker individuals with a serotonin or oxytocin-based warm feeling towards each other and the leader. Bonding became a successful and effective survival strategy, not only for the tribes, but also for modern societies and enterprises. Leadership appeared with evolution, not industrialization. Dive in to learn more about effective leadership and why concentrating on names is more important than focusing on the numbers. See how a caring and healthy environment makes a team more than the sum of its members. Key point 2. Why the urgent will always outrun the important. One of the perks of group living is the effect it has on survival. Namely, we don't need to face challenges alone. Thus, we feel safe enough to move forward instead of fearing threats. In prehistoric times, danger awaited at every corner in the form of predators, other people, and diseases. So fighting off these and securing food and shelter was difficult. Banding together, however, made it possible to multitask on all our needs by sharing tasks among the group members. These groups eventually grew into societies. Our brain's evolution to prioritize safety is why we now do things like staying with a job we don't like. It gives us a sense of security. Leaders of a group draw a circle of safety around the members of their community who share the same values and beliefs and push to protect each other from threats. The trust within the circle enables them to work together and serve each other. An excellent example is with Hazen Sandiaker employees, when Bob Chapman altered the course of management history by expanding the circle of safety in the company, giving employees free access to the company's goods and services. The employees felt safe, creating a solid bond between them, such that they even began helping each other in matters outside the office. Some even transferred their paid vacation days to those in need. Even today, humans rely on groups to make us feel safe. We also need a leader to help us organize our resources and move forward. Don't force your employees to work. Create conditions in which they will want to do it. Securing basic needs helps people prioritize mutual support, quality time, and bonding. When we strive to make ends meet or struggle with health problems, focusing on motivation, understanding, or connection is challenging. First, we focus on what's urgent, and then on what is essential. A company providing its employees with security helps them do more in less time, because they like or feel like doing it, not because they must. Key point 3. A fish rots from the head down. The typical picture of a CEO is someone who seals deals and maximizes profits. But that's only half of what a genuine leader is. Running a successful company is equally about creating a culture and managing finances. A company is more than the buildings, investors, and workforce. It relies on culture, which determines how employees approach problems, treat customers, and prioritize values. The CEO determines this culture as they dictate how the company is run. The history of Goldman Sachs depicts how shallow corporate culture can lead to a company's collapse. Between 1970 and 1990, the motto for the company was long-term greedy, being willing to support clients even at the risk of short-term financial loss. However, since the 1990s, CEO Lloyd C. Blankfein and the company president Gary D. Cohn have shifted the company focus to short-term profit, even at the client's expense. Thus, victory became the main goal for everyone, even if it meant squashing a coworker or a client for profit. Such a toxic culture led many to leave their jobs. Thus, the company's leadership allowed and promoted a culture that destroyed the company's reputation and long-term trust by sacrificing mutual understanding and value to money and performance at whatever cost. However, even in a time of money worship, there are examples of bravery, compassion, and respect. An extraordinary instance of company culture and how it influences staff is the bravery of the Taj Mahal Palace hotel staff, who insisted that the guests' interests come before the company's interests. Successful companies always offer their employees and clients respect, trust, and accountability. The hotel was attacked by terrorists in 2008, and employees who had already escaped came back to help guests, going as far as forming human shields to protect the guests as they ran. Half of the people who were lost that day were hotel staff. Did you know? According to a Thomas Griffin article from February 2024, more than half of employees leave their jobs because of poor management, or because they feel frustrated with company leadership. Key point 4. Do you think you can't kill? The core of good leadership lies in a sense of responsibility and empathy, which is the ability to put ourselves in someone else's shoes and treat them as we would ourselves. Without it, we become inconsiderate and uncaring, affecting our decisions and relationships with others. Physical distance worsens things as it leads to abstraction, and the consequences of our actions don't feel real. We are not victims of our situation. We are the architects of it. Simon Sinek. The Milgram experiment shows how this concept works. One group, labeled teachers, was told to push buttons that would inflict electric shocks of increasing intensity, mild sting to lethal jolt, on another group, labeled learners. The teachers didn't know that the learners were all actors who were only pretending to be shocked. Many people didn't feel comfortable inflicting pain on the learners. Still, Milgram noted that the farther the teacher was from the learner, the more likely they were to continue the experiment. More than half of the participating teachers, who could neither see nor hear the screams of the learners, eventually pressed the button that would have dealt a lethal jolt. Thus, even the kindest and loving people can become cruel in certain circumstances. Moreover, participants claimed that they could inflict the learner such pain because the responsibility lay on the experimenter who urged them to continue. Therefore, feeling responsible for our actions and observing the consequences is critical for compassion and thus cooperation. Ignoring the consequences of our past actions promotes indifference to the future ones. Abstraction makes us prioritize our interests over those of other people, causing us to make decisions that would favor us regardless of who they hurt. For example, in the case of the Titanic, the management did not value the passengers' lives as they were mere abstractions to them, so they cut the costs of additional lifeboats. While more lifeboats would not have stopped the ship from sinking, the shortage caused several unnecessary deaths. Key point 5. How companies are digging their own grave. The modern world prioritizes personal interests. We rarely adhere to advice or take into consideration others' viewpoints. Such a self-centered outlook comes from dehumanizing people whose names we don't know. Large-scale businesses propagate the approach because it's easier to think of people as abstractions like consumers, shareholders, or even expenses. Dehumanizing others helps them see others as tools rather than living, breathing people with hopes, dreams, wants, and needs. For example, many welcomed the way President Reagan handled the air traffic controllers strike in 1981. Reagan fired 11,000 workers and took the side of the companies which opposed the workers' demands for better payments, thus prioritizing profits over the well-being of the workers. However, it's not the only way companies dig their own grave. Many use human biological addiction to performance as a path to more money and success. The release of dopamine was once linked directly to our survival, but now it's tied to our performance, rewarding us when we achieve better and faster results. Companies looking to increase production welcome it, forgetting the stability of long-term goals they are forfeiting. The company America Online, for example, had its customer acquisition staff come up with free hours to entice new customers. The company endorsed this strategy, urging employees to focus on that performance area and get as many people signed up as possible. They found themselves making offers of 1,000 free hours monthly. Workers were doing what they were told, but ended up costing the company a lot of money because the strategy failed from a long-term consequences perspective. The society or business that prioritizes numbers over people will eventually fall. Technology has shifted our focus from lasting value to quick buzz. For example, liking a post on Facebook about human rights gives a rush of dopamine, making us feel happy to have done something when no real help to the cause has been made. Technology makes it easy to click like and feel satisfied, so it's easy to become addicted to the quick fix. To prevent addiction, we need to balance these short bursts of dopamine with serotonin and oxytocin from the sacrifice of actually going out and doing some volunteer work. Key point 6. Good Leader 101. When we think of a good leader, we consider their skills and expertise in their field as what makes them fit to lead others in that field. But in reality, being a good leader depends on integrity and the ability to bond with others. Trust must exist between leaders and those they serve, so integrity is necessary. Yes, leaders are fallible and human too, but they must be honest about their shortcomings and take responsibility for their mistakes. The feeling of safety is dependent on trust, so trust is vital. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. John Quincy Adams. For example, the Ralph Lauren Corporation learned in 2009 that its Argentine branch had dabbled in bribery. They didn't cover it up. Instead, the company leaders informed American authorities and offered to help investigate. Turning themselves in meant they had to pay over $1 million in penalties, but they kept their integrity, and as such, the trust of their customers and employees. Another critical trait of a leader is that they don't carry an individual vision, but a group vision. For example, Bill Gates' vision was not just to earn a lot of money or build himself a great company. It was to put a computer on every desk. That's why Microsoft remains a significant market force and doesn't lose itself. If you want your team or company to win, prepare to sacrifice your interests for the sake of others. Leaders serve those they lead by providing a good vision for the future, not vice versa. In times of crisis, a good leader will sacrifice himself and his own to keep the community standing. For instance, in the Marine Corps, the most senior members receive and eat their meals last. A leader must, therefore, be able to put their own needs aside until their followers are satisfied. Conclusion. A team will become a united and motivated force when their leader treats them as family rather than subordinates and sets visions for the future instead of focusing on short-term goals. Imagine a team that will actively participate in meetings, brainstorm ideas, and strive to achieve more without unnecessary requirements, reminders, or pushing. It may seem like a dream, but all it takes is compassionate and wise leadership. Try this. Invest in your development. A leader is an example, so become worth following. Enhance communication skills and emotional intelligence to express yourself clearly and compassionately. And listen actively. Make team-building meetings fun and friendly. Bonding means making friends, not outrunning rivals. Discover effective business strategies and leadership tips with Headway summaries.